Imagine this. You just finished dinner. Your plate is empty, you're satisfied. Your body looks calm on the outside, everything seems fine. But inside your body, at this exact moment, something extraordinary is happening. Right now, in this second. Your blood is starting to fill with sugar. Not just a little bit. Hundreds of milligrams flooding your bloodstream every single minute. This isn't metaphorical. This is actual glucose molecules entering your blood vessels. Your pancreas feels the change. It's literally screaming for help, releasing insulin frantically. Your muscles are deciding whether to listen. Will they accept the glucose? Or will they ignore the signal? In the next 10 minutes, you're about to make a choice. A simple choice. A choice that changes everything about your metabolism. Most people think timing doesn't matter. Morning, afternoon, evening, after dinner, who cares? Right? They think movement is movement. A walk is a walk. The time of day doesn't change the outcome. But here's what almost no one tells you. Here's what the research is finally revealing. Walking immediately after eating does something completely different to your body than walking before eating. Completely different. Different hormones activated, different fuel sources mobilized, different outcomes in your cells. And the wildest part? A breakthrough study published in 2025 found that just 10 minutes of walking at the right time can control your blood sugar better than 30 minutes at the wrong time, Mike. That's not a typo. I'm not exaggerating. 10 minutes beats 30 minutes dramatically. Let me say that again. 10 beats 30. Let that sink in. Stay with me, because what happens next is rarely talked about. You're about to see inside your own body, minute by minute, system by system, mechanism by mechanism. And you'll understand why timing might be the most underrated health tool you have for controlling your future. Let's talk about the invisible war happening inside you right now. Your bloodstream is like a highway, a transportation system. But after you eat, it becomes overwhelmed. Sugar floods onto that highway, not gradually, fast, within 30 to 60 minutes. Glucose levels can spike dramatically. Dramatically! For most people, here's what happens. Blood sugar starts at around 90 milligrams per deciliter. That's baseline. That's normal. That's where it should be. You eat your meal. 30 minutes pass. Your blood sugar has jumped to 140. That's a spike. That's movement. 60 minutes pass. Now it's 180 milligrams per deciliter or higher, maybe 195, maybe 200. That's not just a number on a lab report. That's your body under stress. Real, measurable, cellular stress. That's inflammation at the molecular level. That's damage happening. Why does this matter to you specifically? Why should you care about this number? Because every time your blood sugar spikes and crashes, it's not neutral. It's not just your body doing its thing. It's not a harmless up and down. It creates something called oxidative stress. Think of it like rust forming on the inside of your blood vessels. Invisible rust. You can't see it. You can't feel it. But it's happening. Molecular damage happening at a level you can't see or feel. Over time, weeks, months, years, these repeated spikes damage your endothelial cells. These are the delicate lining cells of your arteries, the exact cells protecting you from heart disease. The most important protective layer between your blood and your heart, one single layer of cells, that's all that stands between you and cardiovascular disease. And every blood sugar spike damages these cells. Here's what most people don't understand. This isn't just about diabetes. It's not just for overweight people. It's not just for people with a family history. And this is the part most people miss. Studies show that postprandial hyperglycemia, The fancy scientific term for high blood sugar after meals is linked to cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and even dementia, regardless of whether you have diabetes. Let me say that again. Regardless of whether you have diabetes, even if you're metabolically healthy right now, even if you've never had a blood sugar problem in your life, even if your doctor says your metabolism is perfect, even if you're young and fit and healthy, peak glucose levels during your meals predict future heart disease risk years down the line. That's the research. That's what the studies show. Your blood sugar control right now determines your health 10 years from now. Here's the jaw-dropping part. Sustained high blood sugar after meals is a major driver of HbA1c elevation. Your HbA1c is your 3-month average blood sugar. It's like a report card for your metabolism. And HbA1c elevation directly increases cardiovascular mortality risk. But here's what researchers discovered recently. Even in completely healthy people, even in people with perfect baseline blood sugar, peak glucose levels during meals predict future heart disease risk. Your future isn't determined yet, but those spikes are writing it for you. Every single meal is a choice point. Every single spike is contributing to your future health trajectory. Here's what happens when you have repeated blood sugar spikes. It's not just one isolated event. It's a cascade, a domino effect, a cascading system failure through your entire body. First domino. The immune response activates. Your body recognizes the rapid glucose rise as a threat. It treats it like stress. Your white blood cells activate. Your immune system kicks into high alert. These cells produce inflammatory markers, cytokines, C-reactive protein. These markers circulate through your bloodstream. They're looking for the problem, trying to address the glucose spike. But here's the issue. Here's where it gets dangerous. They don't just target the sugar. They create systemic inflammation. Inflammation spreads throughout your body. Inflammation in your arteries. Inflammation in your joints. Inflammation in your brain. Inflammation in your organs. This chronic, low-grade inflammation is the foundation of every modern disease: heart disease, stroke, cancer, Alzheimer's, autoimmune conditions. They all have inflammation at their root. And blood sugar spikes are one of the most powerful triggers. Second domino. The insulin surge creates metabolic stress. Your pancreas releases insulin frantically, pumping out insulin, more and more insulin, trying to force the glucose into your cells. Your pancreas is stressed. Your beta cells, the insulin-producing cells, are working overtime. This constant strain eventually wears them out. They literally burn out. This is how type 2 diabetes develops. Not overnight, not from one meal, but through repeated daily spikes, year after year of stress. Your beta cells get exhausted. They stop producing insulin efficiently. Your pancreas fails, and now you have diabetes. Third domino. The energy crash triggers more hunger. Your blood sugar spiked. It went up to 180. Now your body panics it's too high. So insulin does its job. It forces that glucose into cells, into muscles, into liver, into fat tissue. Now your blood sugar crashes down, maybe down to 70, 60, even 50. That's hypoglycemia. That's dangerously low. Your brain needs glucose. Your brain runs on glucose. So it sends out hunger signals. It's screaming for food. You feel that afternoon hunger, that irresistible craving. You eat again. Another meal, another spike, another crash, another hunger signal. This becomes a cycle, an addiction-like cycle. That's why people with blood sugar dysregulation often struggle with endless cravings and weight gain. It's not a willpower issue. It's not a character flaw. It's not laziness. It's a biochemical loop. Their system is literally addicted to the spike, crash, hunger cycle. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening inside your body over time. Year 1 of repeated post-meal spikes. You notice nothing obvious, no symptoms, no warning signs. Your energy dips a bit in the afternoon, normal afternoon slump. Maybe you feel hungry around 2 p.m. You think it's normal. Most people experience this. Totally normal. But something is happening invisibly. Your endothelial cells are already being damaged. Your inflammatory markers are already elevated. Silent damage, accumulating, layer by layer. Year 2 to 3. Year 2. Now you start noticing things. You start gaining weight despite not eating more. That's strange. You're eating the same amount, but the weight is creeping on. Your digestion feels off. Bloating after meals, that heavy feeling. Your sleep quality declines. You're waking up at night. You're not sleeping deeply. You're more irritable. You snap at people easier. Brain fog is becoming a consistent problem. You can't focus. You can't concentrate. You're forgetting things. But you blame stress, work, getting older. You don't connect it to your post-meal blood sugar patterns. Your system is now experiencing chronic inflammation. Your mitochondria, the energy factories in your cells, are declining. You have less energy production at the cellular level. That's why you feel more tired. Even though nothing obvious changed, your body is inflamed at the cellular level. Year 5 plus. Now the damage becomes visible. Your doctor finds elevated cholesterol. That's new. Or slightly elevated blood pressure. That's concerning. Or pre-diabetes markers on your blood work. Your fasting glucose is elevated. Your HbA1c is in the pre-diabetic range. Maybe you get diagnosed with metabolic syndrome. That constellation of conditions, elevated blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, elevated cholesterol, and abdominal fat, that precedes heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. Now you're concerned. Now you might change something. But the damage has been accumulating for 5 years. Your arteries have plaque formation starting. Your insulin receptors have become less sensitive. Your inflammation is now chronic and systemic. Your immune system is exhausted. Year 10 plus, the consequences become undeniable. You have a heart attack or a stroke, or you're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, or you're starting cognitive decline, memory problems starting to develop, dementia risk elevated. The future you were writing with your blood sugar spikes is now your present reality. This is why timing matters. This is why intercepting these spikes matters, because you can stop by right now before the damage compounds further, before it becomes irreversible. But your body isn't broken. This is what most people get wrong. Your body isn't failing you. Your body isn't your enemy. It's actually brilliant. It's responding perfectly to the environment you're creating. Let me explain how. Your muscles are like warehouses with smart locks, sophisticated storage systems. They store glucose, but they only accept glucose when they're given the right signal, when they're given the right key. Normally, insulin is the key. Insulin says, we'll accept this glucose, store it, use it. Your muscle cells listen. They open their glucose transporters. They let glucose in. This is the primary system, the main pathway. But here's what most people don't know. This is the game changer. Muscle contraction is a completely separate key, a completely independent pathway, a second system. It works independently of insulin. It works even when insulin isn't doing its job well. This is crucial. When your muscles contract during a walk, when your muscle fibers actually move, they activate a protein called GLUT4 transporters. Think of them as thousands of tiny doors, thousands of little gates. These doors open up on your muscle cells. They open automatically when your muscles contract, and they pull glucose directly out of your bloodstream, like a vacuum cleaner, sucking it in. This happens completely independently of insulin. Insulin isn't involved. Insulin doesn't have to do anything. Your muscles just pull the glucose out. This is your body's backup system. And it's powerful, really powerful. It's been inside you the whole time, your whole life. But most people never use it. Most people sit still after eating. They let that sugar stay in their blood. They let glucose accumulate. They force their pancreas to work overtime, forcing insulin levels to surge, creating inflammation and stress. This has been happening inside your body without you noticing, maybe for years, maybe for decades. Silent damage, invisible inflammation, but you can stop it. Starting today. This is the moment everything changes. You now know something most people don't know. You now have information that changes your options. Let's explore the first scenario. Walking before you eat anything. When your body is in a fasted state. You wake up in the morning. You haven't eaten in 10 to 12 hours. Maybe you slept for 8 hours. You haven't eaten for 2 to 4 hours before that. Your body is in what scientists call a fasted state. Not starving, not in crisis, but fasted. No new glucose coming in. But your body isn't empty. Here's what's happening at the cellular level. Your liver's glycogen stores are available. Glycogen is basically your body's sugar battery. It's stored glucose. Your liver has stored glucose molecule. But those stores are running low. You've been fasting for 12 hours. Your glycogen isn't completely empty, but it's significantly depleted. Your insulin levels are at baseline. Baseline means calm, quiet, peaceful in your bloodstream, no insulin surge. Your body is relaxed metabolically. Your body then releases cortisol and glucagon. These are signal hormones. They're saying we need energy and we need it from storage. The moment you start walking, your muscles start contracting. Your muscle fibers are firing. They need fuel immediately. They need energy now. But there's no fresh glucose from food, no breakfast yet, so your body does something elegant. It starts breaking down stored fat. An enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase activates. This is a specific enzyme. It's like a key that unlocks your fat cells. It triggers lipolysis. The breakdown of fat. Fatty acids are released into your bloodstream. These free fatty acids, they're delivered to your muscles. They enter your muscle cells. And they're burned for energy. You're literally running on fat. Right now, in this moment, you're becoming a fat-burning machine. Why does your body do this? Why switch to fat burning? Because your body is adaptive. It's intelligent. It's responsive. In the absence of incoming food, when there's no new glucose coming in, your body prioritizes metabolic flexibility, the ability to switch fuel sources. Fasted exercise enhances this flexibility over time. If you do this repeatedly, your muscles become progressively better at burning fat. Your mitochondria, the energy factories inside your cells, get progressively better at using fatty acids. Over weeks and months of consistent fasted walking, your body improves something called fat oxidation capacity, your fat burning capability. Your body literally rewires itself at the genetic and enzymatic level to burn fat more efficiently. This is adaptive thermogenesis. Your body adapts to the stimulus you're giving it. A 2016 meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Nutrition concluded that aerobic exercise performed in the fasted state induces higher fat oxidation than the same exercise performed in the fed state. 23% higher in some studies. Not a small difference. That's significant. That's real physiological change happening. You finish your walk. You're still fasted inside. But something crucial just happened. Your muscles are now primed. Your GLUT4 transporters are still active on the surface of muscle cells, still open, still activated, even though you're not moving anymore. This effect lasts for hours. Hours, not minutes. Hours. This is the golden window when you finally eat breakfast. 30 minutes to an hour after your walk. Here's what happens at the molecular level. You eat your breakfast. Oatmeal, fruit, toast, eggs, coffee, whatever you eat. Glucose from your meal enters your bloodstream, but this time, your muscles are ready. Your muscles are primed. Those GLUT4 doors are already open. They're waiting. Glucose gets pulled into muscle cells rapidly, much more rapidly than it would have been. Much less insulin is needed, much less insulin surge. Your blood sugar rises more gently, more slowly. No dramatic spike, no violent jump, no oxidative stress, no inflammatory response, no cellular damage. The benefit? You get better insulin sensitivity. Your pancreas doesn't have to work as hard. Your blood sugar stays stable. You avoid that post-meal energy crash. That feeling of exhaustion that hits you around 2 p.m. that afternoon, slump. That happened because your blood sugar is stable. But here's the caveat. And this is important for you to know. Fasted exercise can increase cortisol levels, especially if done intensely, or for too long, or if you're already stressed. For some people, especially those with adrenal stress, chronic sleep deprivation, or hormonal imbalances, this can actually be counterproductive. It can backfire. Intense fasted cardio can raise cortisol too high, leading to fat storage, especially around the belly, and even adrenal fatigue. That's why gentle walking works better than intense running. When fasted, your body is giving you signals. Listen to them. After weeks and months of consistent fasted walking, your body changes fundamentally, not just metabolically, but at the genetic and cellular level. Your muscles develop more mitochondria, more power plants, more energy factories, more capacity to generate energy. Your insulin receptors become more sensitive. They're like locks that open more easily. Insulin can do its job more efficiently. You need less of it. Less chronic insulin elevation means less inflammation, less systemic stress, less metabolic aging. This is why fasted exercise is powerful. It trains your metabolic flexibility. It reminds your body how to burn fat, a capacity most modern humans have lost. This is where most people miss the opportunity. This is where the timing advantage is most dramatic. This is where the research is most compelling. You sit down and eat a meal. A normal meal. Maybe it's rice, pasta, bread, fruit, or other carbohydrates. Maybe it's breakfast or lunch or dinner. Within minutes, not hours, minutes, your stomach starts breaking down food. Amylase and proteases start working. Glucose begins entering your bloodstream. Your pancreas immediately detects the sugar, the rising glucose, and releases insulin like an alarm bell. Insulin floods your bloodstream. Insulin's job is to tell your cells, take the sugar in, store it, use it. But here's the problem. Here's why most people are damaging their bodies daily without knowing it. If you're sitting still, if you're on the couch, if you're at your desk, your muscles don't need much energy right now. Your muscles are at rest. They ignore the insulin signal. They don't accept the glucose. The glucose stays in your blood longer. Your insulin levels rise higher and higher, trying to force the sugar into cells. This is called postprandial hyperglycemia. And it's happening right now in millions of people around the world in your body, probably at this exact moment, if you just ate. Within 30 to 60 minutes, blood sugar peaks. For some, it can hit 180 milligrams per deciliter or higher, maybe 195, maybe 200, maybe even 220. That's stress. That's oxidative. Damage. That's inflammation happening inside you at the cellular level, damaging the exact blood vessels that keep you healthy, keep you alive, keep your heart beating. Now imagine this. You finish your meal. You stand up immediately. Not 30 minutes later, not 30 seconds later, immediately. You start walking. A gentle, comfortable pace. Nothing strenuous, just a walk. Here's what changes at the cellular level, instantaneously. Your muscles start contracting. Your muscle fibers activate. GLUT4 transporters rush to the surface of muscle cells. They move from inside the cell to the cell membrane. Immediately, glucose is pulled directly from your bloodstream into your muscles. No insulin required, no waiting. It happens fast. Your blood sugar rise is blunted, intercepted. Instead of spiking to 180 milligrams per deciliter, it might only reach 150 or 140 or even 1 or even 125. That's not just a number. That's significant. That's life-changing. That's cardiovascular protection. That's inflammation reduction. That's cellular damage prevention. A groundbreaking 2025 study published in Scientific Reports found that a 10-minute walk immediately after eating lowered blood sugar more effectively than a 30-minute walk starting 30 minutes after eating. Let me repeat that because this is crucial to your health. 10 minutes immediately after eating beats 30 minutes later. Not close. It dominates, completely outperforms. Why? Because timing is everything. By the time you wait 30 minutes, your blood sugar has already spiked. The damage is already happening. The inflammation is already starting. The endothelial cells are already being damaged. But when you walk immediately, when you start moving within 2 to 3 minutes of finishing your meal, you intercept the glucose as it's entering your bloodstream. You're catching it at the door. You're stopping the spike before it starts. You're preventing the cascade. You finished your 10-minute walk, you sit back down. But here's the magic. The effects don't stop there. Your muscles stay insulin sensitive for hours. Your GLUT4 transporters stay open. Your blood sugar curve is smoother, not spiky, not violent, smooth, controlled, stable. Your mean glucose levels, the average over the next 2 hours, are significantly lower. Your peak glucose, the highest point, is lower. The most dangerous spike is reduced. In the 2025 study, participants who walked for 10 minutes immediately after eating had lower glucose area under the curve compared to sitting still. That's the total glucose burden. Lower mean blood sugar over 2 hours. Lower peak blood sugar. The maximum spike was smaller, and here's the kicker. Here's the surprising finding. They reported lower perceived exertion. The walk felt easier, much easier, much less exhausting, and no gastrointestinal discomfort, no stomach cramping, no bloating, no nausea, no digestive upset. Walking right after eating didn't upset their stomachs. It actually helped. It aids digestion. Light walking stimulates peristalsis, the wave-like muscle contractions in your intestines that move food through your digestive tract. This reduces bloating, gas, and that heavy, sluggish feeling after meals. Your body isn't fighting against you, it's cooperating with you. If you do this consistently, if you walk for just 10 minutes after meals, 3 times a day, your body starts to change at a deeper level, not just metabolically, but at the genetic and cellular level. This isn't just about that one meal. This is about rewiring your entire metabolism. Week 1 to 2. You might notice better energy after meals. The 2 p.m. energy crash doesn't hit as hard. Your digestion might feel better. Some people report less bloating. Week 3 to 4, your sleep quality often improves. Why? Because blood sugar crashes that happen at night are less severe. Your nervous system is less stressed. Your brain has steadier glucose availability. Steadier blood sugar means steadier sleep, better sleep quality, more restful sleep. Month 2 to 3, your muscle cells grow more mitochondria. The energy factories multiply. You have measurably more cellular energy capacity. Your insulin receptors become more sensitive. They respond faster and work harder. Stay healthy. Your HbA1c, that 3-month average of blood sugar, drops measurably, often significantly. If your HbA1c was 5.9, pre-diabetic range, it might drop to 5.5 or even 5.3, normal range. Month 4 to 6. Your cardiovascular disease risk decreases. Your cognitive decline risk decreases. Your metabolic syndrome risk decreases. Your weight often normalizes without dieting. Why? Because your blood sugar is stable. Your hunger hormones are balanced. Your cravings decrease. Your body doesn't feel like it needs to store fat. One meta-analysis found that even 2 to 5 minutes of light walking after meals can significantly reduce postprandial glucose and insulin responses in adults with obesity. 2 to 5 minutes. That's less time than it takes to brush your teeth, and it changes your metabolic future. Your body isn't failing you. It's responding intelligently to the signals you give it. What signals are you sending? Let's zoom into the research. Because this isn't just theory. This isn't me speculating. This isn't educated guessing. This is hard science. This is peer-reviewed research. This is institutional research published in top journals for decades. The standard advice was exercise 30 minutes after eating, 30 minutes after your meal. The reasoning was simple and straightforward. You shouldn't walk on a stomach. It might cause cramping, digestive issues, discomfort. That's what we told people for 40 years. That's what was in all the textbooks, all the fitness guidelines, all the medical recommendations. But new research is overturning that advice completely. The breakthrough study was published in Scientific Reports in 2025, published by Nature. Nature is the most prestigious scientific journal in the world. Top-tier research only. The researchers tested 3 conditions, 3 different groups, all of them healthy young adults, all of them fresh, fit, metabolically healthy people. No metabolic disease, no diabetes, no obesity, just normal healthy people. Control group. Sit still after drinking a glucose solution, 75 grams of glucose. That's equivalent to a big meal, just sitting, resting metabolic rate, no movement, no activity. Experimental group 1, 10-minute walk immediately after. Walk at a comfortable pace right after consuming glucose. The very moment the glucose hits their system, start walking. Experimental group Yari 2. 30-minute walk 30 minutes later. Sit for 30 minutes first. Let the blood sugar spike fully develop. Then walk for 30 minutes. Much longer walk, but delayed. The 10-minute walk immediately after had the lowest blood sugar area under the curve, the total glucose burden over the measurement period, the cumulative glucose exposure. It had the lowest mean glucose over 2 hours. The average value, not just the peak, it had the lowest peak glucose. The absolute highest point was the smallest. The most dangerous spike was prevented. The 30-minute walk done later, it definitely helped. It's better than doing nothing. But not nearly as much as the immediate walk. In fact, the 10-minute immediate walk outperformed the 30-minute delayed walk on every single metric. Every single one? Why? Because by the time you start walking 30 minutes later, your blood sugar has already spiked. The peak has already occurred. You've missed the critical window. You're closing the barn door after the horse escaped. It's already too late. But when you walk immediately, when you start moving within 2 to 3 minutes of finishing your meal, you intercept the glucose as it's entering your bloodstream. You're catching it at the door. You're stopping the spike before it starts. You're preventing the cascade. When your muscles contract during walking, they activate a protein called AMPK. AMP activated protein kinase. This is an enzyme, a cellular enzyme. Think of it as a cellular energy sensor. When your muscles contract, energy is depleted in those muscle cells. ADP and AMP accumulate. These are energy depletion signals. AMPK detects these signals. When it's activated, it triggers GLUT4 glucose transporters to move from inside the muscle cell to the surface, to the cell membrane, like opening garage doors, like unlocking warehouses. This process happens completely independently of insulin. Insulin doesn't have to be involved. Insulin levels don't matter. It's purely mechanical. It's a contraction-based mechanism. It's why walking after eating works even in people with insulin resistance, even in people with type 2 diabetes, even in people whose insulin system is damaged. Their muscles still work. Their muscles still respond to contraction. A 2013 study in diabetes care found that 3 15-minute bouts of moderate walking after meals significantly improved 24-hour glycemic control in older adults better than a single 45-minute walk at another time of day. Better in every metric, better glucose control, better insulin response, better energy levels. Metabolic flexibility is the ability to switch between burning carbohydrates and burning fat as fuel. It's like having a car that can run on gas or electricity. Most modern people have lost this. They're carbohydrate dependent. Their bodies have completely forgotten how to burn fat. You see this in people who can't exercise without eating first, crash if they skip breakfast, get hungry a few hours after eating, have strong afternoon energy slumps, feel shaky or anxious when hungry. Their bodies literally can't switch fuel sources. When they skip a meal or exercise fasted, they have no alternative energy source. Their body panics. Fasted walking restores metabolic flexibility. It's like retraining a muscle. Over weeks and months of fasted walking, your mitochondria become progressively better at extracting energy from fat. Your body upregulates the enzymes involved in beta oxidation, the process of breaking down fatty acids. You literally build more metabolic capacity. Your fat-burning machinery gets upgraded. Your mitochondria grow. Your enzymes become more efficient. Your metabolic machinery gets rewired. Post-meal walking after each meal enhances insulin sensitivity. Your cells become more responsive to insulin signals. They accept glucose more readily. This means less insulin is required. Chronically elevated insulin is linked to inflammation, weight gain, and accelerated aging. So both approaches work together. They're complementary. Ideally, you do both. Gentle fasted morning walk, if you're metabolically healthy, 15 to 20 minutes before breakfast. Post-meal walks, for everyone, 10 minutes after each meal. This creates metabolic flexibility. You practice burning fat in the morning. You practice glucose control after meals. Your body becomes metabolically flexible. You can run on either fuel source. Your body adapts. Your health improves. Not everyone should walk fasted. This is important. Your body is unique. Your circumstances are specific. Fasted walking is a tool, not a rule. Pregnant or breastfeeding women. Your body needs energy for both of you. Individuals with a history of disordered eating. Restriction patterns can get triggered. Individuals with type 1 diabetes without medical supervision. Your body needs different management. Anyone with adrenal issues or chronic fatigue? Your stress hormones need recovery time. People who are chronically sleep deprived. Cortisol is already elevated. Those recovering from illness. Your body needs nutrients and rest. Anyone feeling shaky, dizzy, or anxious when hungry. That's a signal to eat. The key is listening to your body, really listening. If you feel energized after a fasted walk, great. That's your signal that it's working for you. If you feel drained, shaky, anxious, or confused, that's your signal too. Your body is communicating with you. Honor that. Respect that. Post-meal walking is safe for everyone. It doesn't trigger any contraindications. Even pregnant women can walk after meals. Gentle walking. Even people with diabetes can do it. Even elderly people can do it. It's universally safe. Let me make this practical for you. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need special workout clothes. You don't need anything. After breakfast, lunch, and dinner, stand up. Walk around your house. Walk around the block. Walk in your backyard. Walk in your driveway. Walk in place while watching TV. Just move for 10 minutes. That's it. That's the intervention. Simple, accessible, doable. Before breakfast is optional. If you're metabolically healthy and well-rested, try a gentle 15 to 20-minute walk. Keep it light. Notice how you feel. If you feel energized, great. If you feel drained, shaky, or anxious, skip the fasted walk. Your body is giving you feedback. Listen, maybe you're a busy parent. Walk after dinner while your kids play outside. You get your walking in. They get fresh air. Everyone wins. Maybe you work from home. Walk after lunch during your break. You get away from your desk. You reset your mind. You control your blood sugar. Maybe you work in an office. Walk around your building after lunch, or walk around the parking lot, or just walk up and down stairs. Maybe you're retired. Make post-meal walks a ritual. A time to think, to breathe, to be present, to enjoy your neighborhood. Maybe you have mobility issues. Walk slower, walk shorter distances, walk in place. Even 1 minute of movement helps. Every bit counts. This is sustainable. This is doable. This is life-changing. You're not asking your body to do something extreme. You're giving it a signal, a simple 10-minute signal. And your body responds with gratitude. You're not fighting your body anymore. You're working with it. And that's when everything changes. Now, I want to hear from you. What surprised you most? The biology? The timeline? The idea that your body is protecting you rather than sabotaging you? Have you tried walking after meals? What did you notice? More energy? Better digestion? Better sleep? Lower afternoon crashes? Less bloating? Maybe you've been walking fasted in the mornings. How does it make you feel? Share your thoughts in the comments. Someone reading your experience might need it. That person who's been struggling with energy crashes. That person who's been gaining weight despite exercise. That person who's confused about when to move their body. Your story is the answer they're waiting for. If you want more science-based explanations without hype, just calm, clear, evidence-based insights into what's happening inside your body. Subscribe. Click that bell. Turn on notifications. Because in the next video, we'll explore what most people get wrong about fasting and hormones and why ignoring this one thing can quietly undo everything you're working toward. We'll dive into why some people thrive on fasting while others crash. why your cortisol might be sabotaging your fat loss, why intermittent fasting works for some people and backfires spectacularly for others. The answer is more nuanced than any diet book tells you, but it's also simpler than you think. You've got this. Your body is smarter than you think. Let's work with it, not against it. I'll see you in the next video.